by the big train station, one of the big train stations, and Mesa Bonita is quite near here.
It is.
And we're only politely late at the moment, aren't we, darling?
We're heading to a place called Mesa Bonita. This is the lady who's worked in tiles for 21 years. Not just any tiles, are they, Ollie?
No, they're hydraulic tiles.
Yeah, so we're going to find out more about the tiles in our home and see what she thinks of them.
Everywhere you go in Barcelona, you see these amazing, beautiful buildings. Look at these ones.
Yeah, you really do. Just need to look up all the time and see what we're missing. Hola, Ian. Nice to meet you.
Hello. Hello. Very nice to meet you.
Such a lovely.
Nice meeting you too.
You would never know that inside the store is a treasure trove of priceless tiles.
Well, you've not seen it yet.
That's true, we've not seen it yet.
Okay, we leave the door open.
Oh, wow. No, now I know it. Amazing.
Oh my word.
I am in tile heaven.
Oh my word.
Magnificent. It's breathtaking.
Okay, so that you understand,
This is 20 years of collection, right?
that what I like to show more than anything else is that how they come to life. Of course, when you've dusted them, but also when you put water on them. Okay, it's gonna tell you what really the pigment.
Yeah, because we have that problem. When they dry, they lose their colour.
Okay, so either you need to put, you need to put some proper product on it in order to seal, seal them, protect them, okay, but also for them to return to their original glory. So so they come to life.
Yeah, they do. It's like
Look at this one.
it's amazing. It's a transformation.
Did you just say that 3 layers of floor were
3 layers of floor.
Benedict, how does your business work? So you're selling, is it the tables you sell and the pictures? So tell us a little bit about how your business works.
I do pretty much a la carte.
Okay.
Therefore, people contact me because they're doing some remodeling in their home.
Okay.
They want to put some loose tiles in front, or some tiles in front of their fireplace or in a corridor. So, I can ship all over the world, 8, 10, 100 tiles, okay? But I also make tables, and I will do, up to whatever, the height, the width, the length.
These are
From Gracia.
incredibly
They're pretty,
beautiful. There's some sort of,
It's
it's a kind of almost gold iridescence in the
It's
swirl.
amazing. I do from very small to pretty big, and I ship pretty much all over the place.
That's amazing. And you do individual sort of tiles to go on the wall
And
as well?
then, for the people who just want a souvenir from Barcelona, and who have a little space in their bag, or, who don't have the space in their home, and also the budget, I do frames.
So Benedict is just saying that, say she has a customer that comes here and wants this immediately, what she would do is actually level this, so make
so
it
that
100% level and flush with the top.
Exactly.
Then coat it with 2 layers of wax in order to seal it, and then wrap it really, really carefully. That can go in my suitcase. Here now looking at Benedict's beautiful table of tiles, and these are ones that you pulled out in advance of our visit, especially for us.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Because, I always say that every tile has a story, which is true. Every tile has a story. But some tiles are a more interesting story than others. Everything that's in my home or downstairs in my studio come from the dumpsters.
Around Barcelona or beyond? How far?
No, Barcelona.
Yeah.
There is this piece that comes from Sevilla.
Yeah, but apart
But
from that,
outside of that, every single piece comes from Barcelona. There is enough in Barcelona, enough work in Barcelona,
That's
unfortunately.
incredible.
How did you get into selling these tiles?
So, I arrived in Barcelona, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I kept finding them in the dumpsters. And I was very disturbed and saddened by what was going on, and feeling that I couldn't change what was going on, I decided to eventually make tables. I was going through changes in my private life and I had to be at home. Therefore, I felt like, what do you want to do? What's going to mean something to you? And I felt like, well, there is one thing I know I love and I feel very sad about and disturbed. And it's those hydraulic tiles that keep being thrown away.
So hydraulic tiles, all of these are hydraulic.
And the difference being that ceramics usually were on a wall and they go through a kiln.
Okay.
Hydraulic tile means, it doesn't mean hydraulic press, it means hydraulic water. They are water-based.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Okay, the Italians are going to say they were first produced in Italy. The French are going to say no, it was the French. And the Spaniards are going to say no, it was in Spain. Anyway, they were presented in 1850 something at an exhibition, and it was a Spanish company that presented them.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this is something very distinctive when you walk around old houses in Barcelona. It's this kind of tile that you see on the floor often.
Why do people throw them away? They're so beautiful.
I know,
I don't get it.
blows my mind. But you have to understand the way they were made, is, marble powder mixed with pigments, natural pigments back then, which is not the case. Then, they were made backwards. There was like a cookie cutter mold, type of mold, in the shape of the design. Okay? So the more intricate, the trickier it was to find a skilled person to make those molds.
Yes.
And afterwards, what was even more complicated was to find the exact recipe so that the pink wouldn't run into the white, which wouldn't run into the yellow, that wouldn't run into the grey.
Amazing. And so it was made upside down.
So it was made upside down.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So like
So
it
you have a
fits
mold.
within a frame.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So metal mold.
You make every morning batter, let's call it, okay, with the colors.
Yes. Yes.
Obviously,
So there's a specific
so
pattern.
So there is a specific pattern with
recipe.
colors. So
Okay.
and then there is like cement, dry cement, and a wet cement. Then it's pressed down, and usually there was the name of the factories that appeared in the back.
Oh, yeah.
So in this case,
I see Barcelona, yeah.
okay, there is that cross, and here it's Boutsems and Compagnia. Boutsems, we believe, were the first makers of tile. It was not the people who introduced it.
So not
the-
from this
It
exhibition.
would be, yeah,
Subsequent.
but yeah, okay. They started making tiles, and they made tiles, very good quality tiles.
So they weren't put in a kiln at all. They were just, there wasn't any firing, any heat involved.
No, so there is no firing, but it takes, after, they get the tile out, it takes 1 month, 30 days to dry.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're ordering, yeah,
It's not going to be next day
pepita,
delivery.
no, yeah.
No Amazon Prime.
And to this day, so 170 odd years later, it's still made. They are
Exactly
still
the
made the
same
same way,
process.
except that they do not have the recipes, and usually the colors run into one another, and they do not use natural pigments, so the pigments are not.
So
nearly as
producing them as good as this is something you cannot find
no,
today.
nobody makes this anymore.
Oh.
No.
And look at the side profile. You can see there that line where the colour has been inserted on the mould, and then this cement placed on top.
So cool.
But make no mistake, I do not find the tiles in this state. Okay.
Okay, now that's really interesting because in our house, Magical Modernist Mansion, there are some tiles not in great condition, especially on the ground floor where we've had rising damp and much more heavy usage as well from the kitchen into the
Yeah, the first floor, the floor up is really good condition, but the downstairs, not so good.
Yeah. But I've had tiles that used to be in houses that the floor had been rising.
Mm.
So usually they're kind of broken tiles,
Mm.
you know, they're not in very good shape, and they are discolored by, you know, the humidity.
Mm. Exactly.
What's
The
happening.
years of
Yes.
humidity.
Yes.
So they're very stained and they're very damaged. So those tiles I still have gathered. I have a few downstairs, you know, in that state. But it's a lot of work to bring them back to
Their original colours.
Yeah.
And
yeah. And sometimes that's also why people have to get rid of them.
yes.
Sometimes it's not because they don't want them on the floor. It's for those.
They're very damaged, and
Yeah.
they don't see how they can be restored.
No, they cannot.
Mm.
They cannot. Or it would be, you know, it would be
Very
so much
difficult.
work and stuff.
Yeah.
You might know that hexagonal.
Oh yes.
Okay, you have this one, but in
a different
blue,
colour scheme.
in royal blue.
That is.
Okay, so the in Spain, the normal size of a tile is 20 by 20, which is 8 by 8
Mm.
in inches. Hydraulic tiles were designed to come right after, you know, we had mosaic, and also, you know, the region is very humid. What was used was anything that had to do with cement-based stone. So eventually, you know, they started making little clay pieces. It's called mosaic nola. And if you put them, there are little triangles and rectangles and prism, you know, and if you put them together, you get usually a geometric pattern, but sometimes they manage to make it more floral.
Yes.
But they found out what was also very time consuming and expensive was this little mosaic.
Yeah, very
So-
beautiful, but I can see having to install each small piece
It's
painstakingly.
extremely, yeah, it's too difficult. Therefore, that's how they came up with the idea. We're going to make a pattern and we're going to repeat it so that it can be put together. Okay?
Very clever.
So the first patterns actually were this kind of patterns.
Oh,
They're like
earlier.
This kind
Oh
of
my
patterns.
goodness.
Because we thought our floor was later.
We did.
Because
This
these kind of patterns, what do? They imitate.
The mosaic.
You know, they're made to make people believe that you have paid for mosaic.
Yes.
Okay? I cannot afford the mosaic, but I'm going to
The
fool
eye,
people.
it
Yeah.
looks like a mosaic.
So it
floor.
was a make-believe, you know? It was like, that's why they did it. Like you go to Turkey, you go to Rome, you go to different places, you know, the Escher, you know, type of design. You see it all over the place, you know,
Absolutely.
anywhere you go to Egypt.
Yeah, when I researched this is what I discovered, because we thought it had been put in around the 1940s, but actually I discovered it was not new. It was
No,
actually,
I don't think it's from.
it just became popular later
Yeah.
through Escher, but actually it was from Roman times.
Yeah,
But you're,
absolutely.
so you're saying this was the first of the hydraulic
Yeah,
styles?
so, you know, I'm not saying that particular piece. I'm
Yeah,
not going to
but
try
as
to
an
say
example.
this. But that's an example. But, you know, like all these kind of pieces that have like smaller, you know, like smaller prints, you know, and those are pieces that look very contemporary. You know, this kind of piece, you know, they are indeed, you know, they are, in fact, they were created a lot.
Earlier. They
Earlier.
were an earlier trend in the
Yeah.
hydraulic tile
Yeah.
design.
And afterwards, you know, they became more like kitchen tiles or corridor tiles, you know, they were more basic.
Amazing.
So,
This
you know,
is
they were like,
exactly
okay, we
the
put them in the
situation.
kitchen, you know, let's put this in the kitchen. You know, it's
Okay.
plain. It's plainer.
Tell us about what are the most rare and special tiles in your collection here.
They are the sizing of the tile, which makes a tile more rare
Yes.
and
So-
hard to find.
Far
Okay?
larger, far smaller.
Exactly. And in between, far in between, you know? It's like this kind of tiles, you have them in your home,
So the border.
okay? But you don't have them in every room.
And this is a really good example of the border that we have in our own home on many of the floors, creating almost like a Persian rug effect, where you have this beautiful border going all the way round, and then you have the pattern, the tiled pattern within.
It's cool.
So,
Come across.
so would you say that the hydraulic tiles are more hard wearing, therefore?
Oh yeah, my God! You know,
Yeah.
this is 100. You know, this is 170 years. You know,
Oh
and
my
it's
goodness.
like, you know, sometimes 120, 40 years. You know, old and they are still looking
And it's still
fabulous.
intact. I mean, yeah.
So it's like, and you know, they're so durable. They can last us. You know, they can last.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So moving on to other special tiles, tell us about this little beautiful one here.
Okay, so that's a ceramic, and it doesn't come from Barcelona. Most of the tiles I have do come from Barcelona, and they all come from the dumpsters. This I can show. This one comes from Sevilla, and one time I found a few of these little numbers. So they are not as heavy as
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
It's
big
significantly
sisters.
lighter.
It's a pocket-sized tile.
You know, yeah, it fits anywhere, and you know, it's a really cool tile. It has a nice design.
It does.
Did you say you saw it in a movie as well?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, the whole scene, you know, takes place, you know, in a beautiful old house, you know, where there are like lots of tiles, and most of the tiles, you know, are on the floor and on the wall. They have those cream tiles with inlaid, you know, in the corners, you know.
Can you tell us about this one here?
Okay, those tiles are like most collectors' favorites.
Yeah, they're really cool, aren't they?
Okay, so these
Most
are
collectors,
extremely
and
valuable.
very important collectors, I would say.
Oh, really?
Most important. I found them first, you know, in little pieces in the container one Friday night. And I tried to put them together over the weekend, and I couldn't do anything with them. I couldn't make anything out of them. So, on Monday morning at 8 a.m., boom, 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 when the workers start working, I went and knocked on the door, and I had taken some of the little pieces, and I showed the worker. I said, "Look, you know, I have these little tiles, you know, these little pieces of tiles. What do you have?" And he shows me, and he has a part of the floor that's still left. And I'm like, "Yes, those are the tiles, those are the tiles." And, you know, so they used to go like one snake, one dragon, one and so
Oh my word.
And I said to him, you know, "Do you mind if you keep some for me?" And he did keep some
How lovely.
for me. And lots of people, for them, it's like, they might not be crazy about the pattern, but
Yeah.
it's very unusual.
And then is there anything else you'd like to show us on this table?
The cobalt blue,
Oh, yes.
okay, or royal
Because
blue.
the colour is
If it's called
expensive.
royal blue, it's very expensive. Therefore, you know, people usually did not buy it. It was too expensive.
Oh, so the blues are quite rare.
It fades. It fades
It
with
fades.
the sun and the light. Therefore, there was only one factory, and we're going to talk about the same one again, you know, Benedicte of Mesa Bonita, that company who made those tiles as well,
Yes.
who made, you know, the best royal blue to this day. You know, usually the blues have not faded, so those are from Benedicte. Those are from Benedicte.
You were telling us also about this tile over here, which has a
Okay, so this one has a great story. So, during the Civil War, as we know, most forms of art were forbidden, okay? And hydraulic tiles being seen as a form of art, you know, the factories had to close down.
Gosh.
Anyway, so the tile makers, most little tile makers, and there were a lot in Catalonia, just closed down. And some factories said, "No way, you know, that's our living, you know, livelihood,"
Yeah.
and so on. So, you know, what they did is, I guess, they pressed tiles at night.
Under the cover of darkness.
Under the cover. So
Yeah.
we just saw earlier that usually behind a tile there is the seal, okay? Or there used to be a seal, okay? That said Barcelona and so on in the name of the factory. So what they're going to do is that they're going to stop putting the seal.
So no one could identify whether they were doing it.
Knows. And you know, usually you see when you get in front of some buildings in Barcelona, you see that, you know, the building is like 1940s. Okay, you know, the tile. If I find tiles, they're not, you know, they're not going to have a seal in the back, and that's a perfect example.
So you know, if you find a tile without a stamp, it was made during the night in secret.
there was a really big competition, and people would, copy each other, all the competition. The big ones, would hire high-end designers to make very intricate and difficult designs to copy. So the prices would be, of course, higher. Designers, okay? Designers. So one of them was Escoffet. So Escoffet was working with people like Gaudi, Joseph Puig Cadafalch, Enric Sagnier, Joseph Pasco, all the big names.
Oh my goodness.
That's who Escoffet hired. So, if you have, or if you were buying an Escoffet tile, you were asking me about, hierarchy within tiles. There is a hierarchy in tiles.
And yet to be proven with documentation, but our architect and various sort of sources are suggesting that perhaps our house was built by Enric Sagnier.
If there were some Escoffet tiles in one house, the whole house was Escoffet.
Yeah, wow, they're amazing.
If they were Boutsem, the whole house was Boutsem. 1908. Okay.
So it's a bit
So is it possible to get a catalogue of 1911? Because that's when the Magical Modernist Mansion actually was built.
Some styles were kept being manufactured, for, 10, 20 years, whatever.
Oh, wow, look at the catalogues.
So 1912. So this catalogue from Escoffet is that small, and it carries a lot of years of different styles, designs, because they were made for the reps to carry around.
Amazing.
Cute.
Yeah, really nice.
And I'm sure, this is 1912, and I'm sure your style is here. So, I started putting whatever I have, and I have almost everything. So it's an Escoffet catalogue.
1912.
Gosh, that's incredible.
Okay, but you have, so you see the very basic ones.
Yeah.
Okay, they put them at first.
Yeah.
Okay, those were more like for kitchens and stuff, and then you go in super intricate.
Yes. That really is.
With double borders.
Incredible.
And so on,
the way the border bleeds into
that one
the
looks familiar.
centerpiece.
These I have downstairs, with... I have most of them. So, Enric Sagnier, you see?
Oh, wow.
And it should say it somewhere.
Isn't that incredible? It's a catalogue for them.
Enric Sagnier.
So there may be loose tiles in a storage cupboard in the house.
You might, because, sometimes they have what they call replacement tiles.
Yes. So if I can locate any, I can look on the back of the tile and see if there's a stamp on there. And
also you can reuse them. If you need to replace some, they were called replacement tiles, and if you've kept them over 100 years,
that's incredible.
if you need them, they come
There's
empty.
a place I think we can look. We have a cupboard under the stairs, and it goes around a corner, and I have a feeling there are some tiles stacked up in that dark, dusty corner there. I'm going to go and have a look.
You're going to have a look. And those are Boutsem's. That's a Boutsem's catalogue. And I have a few other catalogues, but the very basic one. After
Which
the
we
border, or separation. To separate two rooms. There was always
to separate the rugs.
Yeah, exactly. This is this one. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
How clever is that?
So there are different ways of putting it. You see. Either the linear way or the more floral pattern, as a cross, putting it as a cross.
Gosh, so that could almost be a corridor, and that could be a room in its own right.
When I do the tables, I give you either a flower or a cross, depending how you turn the tiles.
How lovely, quite
fun.
With this. And this is our floor.
Those are your floors, so they came in different colors, as we know.
Yeah.
From
their catalogues,
were made like more utility.
Absolutely.
Tiles, this was impossible to copy.
Yeah, so complicated.
Yes,
this was
really
too much work. It was
intricate details.
They wouldn't even. But this kind of numbers, yes, they would copy this.
What period of this is this catalogue? What age is this catalogue?
1913.
Okay, so similar time to ours.
Wow.
So that tells me that the ones in the hallway are actually old.
Very.
Because we thought they were later
know.
60s or 50s.
No, 1897.
Oh my goodness, even older.
Wow. Absolutely fascinating, because you can see they did evolve a little. They became more complex. Although I'd say there's. Oh, hang on.
You know, I think
I'm seeing our floors.
I think you have your floors are in there. I think so. I think they are good sense because if we can find
That border looks familiar.
Yeah, I think so too.
That
You
looks,
have this.
That's yes.
You have this.
That one we have.
You see? Good
Gosh.
sense.
This is quite emotional, actually.
It's really. I never thought this visit would unveil.
You came for a reason.
I'm feeling tingles down my spine.
Camilla, come here.
Yeah.
So I've been photographing this catalogue so we can go home and just see our tiles in it. And look, I found, you know, the on the balcony.
Oh my goodness.
The kind of wall thing. That's ours.
That's it.
So it's not just the tiles they went shopping for at Brookson's.
This is amazing. I wish that company existed today. I really do.
So cool.
Benedict, you have to come to visit Campunch's Magical Modernist Mansion.
I will.
Come for lunch. We'll show you around, show you our tiles.
Yes.
It's been such a pleasure. We could stay here all day, but honestly, it's so fascinating.
It has been. And
I can't get over the emotion of seeing our tiles in the old catalogue. It's just...
yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's really cool.
Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome very much.
Yeah, no, an enormous thank you.
And I really wish you good luck because I am well aware, or not even aware, of how much work you're putting in it.
That conversation with Benedict was so illuminating and very, very exciting because of the connection it has with the Magical Modernist Mansion. I am back at home. Ollie is back in Blighty, and while in sunny Spain, I thought maybe I should do a little investigating. I've just realised this is a room you've probably never seen before. This is, welcome, the cupboard under the stairs. Okay, it gets a little disorganised towards the back, I'll have to admit. And already you can see there are some broken tiles here. Just, I don't know, I think it wasn't this messy before. I think the cats have been in here. So I'm just going to lift this. Yeah, interesting. So what have we got? There's a tile right there. I need to, oh my goodness. So this one says, oh dear. Let's see if I actually recognise it for a start. Oh, it's, oh golly, it's our black bathroom tile. And what does it say on the back? Because I know it's got something here, but I cannot tell. Okay, this has got a print and I recognise it. It's definitely got a stamp on it. We need to get this out. This is very, very exciting. What's weird here is that this looks like they've got different, hang on. They look like they're different writing. Could that be Escoffier? And I'm wondering if this could be Butsem's. This is from our hallway. Oh no, there's faint writing on the back, but I cannot see what it says. Oh, this looks like, yes, TSEMS, Butsem's. Oh my giddy aunt. This is extraordinary. I am so happy that I came in here. I don't think it's a straightforward story because I think that both Escoffier and Butsem's are in here. But if that's true, then that's just even more mind-blowing because they are the two top firms in Catalonia, in fact, possibly in the world for hydraulic tiles. I'm actually going to take it all out and put it in order and see what we find. I don't see any pattern designs that have Sanier's name on them, but the fact that we have these brands in the house, potentially, and definitely I can see matches in their catalogues, makes me wonder whether perhaps Sanier was the architect of the house. Ramon Mestre, who had the house built, who paid for this house, made his money in Cuba. He wasn't here, he didn't know who to use, and it's very likely, therefore, that he would have used a Barcelona architect, because had he used a local one, then that architect would have gone to a different firm in Villanova that also makes hydraulic tiles that are nice, but nothing near as special as these ones. The fact that we potentially have Butsem's or escoffier tiles in the house is a very good indicator that we had a top-end architect such as Sanier. Some of my exciting findings from the cupboard under the stairs. They are Butsems, and if one is that company, then the whole house is probably that company. So here we go. You can see there is Butsems. When I'm looking at the tiles, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I can see that layer. Can you see it's got that lovely blue? But if I turn it on its side where it's been cracked off, you don't see that layer of blue. And I'm wondering why this is. Is it because it was an earlier method? Or is it because the blue is so expensive that maybe they didn't put it as far down into the tile depth? And yeah, a couple of mysteries. So this looks like it's the bathroom tile. And when I turn it over, it's not Butsems, but it's escoffier, which makes me wonder whether the room there was renovated subsequent to the original house build. And then these tiles here are a mystery because they don't belong anywhere in the house. And then I wondered whether it's possible that these were left over from when the bathroom, the large bathroom, was originally put in place, or perhaps one of the smaller ones when they were renovated. And they're very, very beautiful tiles. But the stripe tells me it's Butsems. I've got a pile of other hydraulic tiles here and some broken bits as well. And tomorrow I'm going to go around the house and check that I can locate where they all are. I have identified which floor this tile belongs to. This is our first floor office. And I was trying to fathom where on earth I'd seen this other tile, and I've just realised that it was on the front balcony of Canpunctius, the Magical Modernist Mansion. These are tiles that are incredibly beautiful. When we first moved into this house, they were just covered in bird poo, and it was an absolute state, and we've cleaned them up and revealed these beautiful tiles underneath. I was thinking I had not seen this tile with the little corners missing and the blue bits, but now I realise it belongs to this balcony